Morning.
Morning. This is the Personnel Finance Committee, Thursday, March 7th at 9:02. We're going to commence by calling the meeting to order and to adopt the agenda, and then we'll get to public comments. Don.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing minutes, which, the approval of minutes, different dates. Dave? We'll move.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bender. Vote?
Aye.
Any corrections at all from Betsy?
No, I'm just gonna say abstain.
Betsy abstains. See? Any corrections? Okay, you want to vote?
Aye.
Aye. That's a 4-0. Betsy abstains. Okay. We got, our finance director, Paul, has got some things that he wants to go over with regard to the general fund, the CIP report.
We have public comments first.
We can do public comments, I'm sorry, I was
number.
skip past it, yeah, skip past it. So we'll go with public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pleasure to address our P&F committee. I rarely get the opportunity because of LC committee at the same time. So
Charles.
it is my pleasure. Should I introduce myself?
Please introduce yourself and give us your address.
Okay, my name is Chuck Fry. I'm vice chair of the county board. My address is 4814 County Road GG, Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Okay.
On your agenda, you have number 17 identified, resolution approval of the Winnebago County Fund Reserve Policy. And this policy, of course, has been controversial, I'll use that term, since it was initiated several years ago. But due to the fact that we have the policy in place, now is our opportunity as a board and your opportunity as a committee to make corrections or amendments to the proposed policy. If you do have your copy, I'm referring to the document dated February 2024. I'll give you a minute to look at that. And if you would look at page 4. You have the funding of the unassigned, that's a new term we're using now, general fund balance will generally come from excess revenues, etc. My specific concerns is the stated as number 1. I'll read that. An amount to be appropriated to lower the amount of bonds, and we're talking about excess funds in general beyond the 25% that's being proposed, or contributions needed to fund capital projects. Of course, I would certainly support that, but I would like additional language or amended to read or apply to the tax levy. I believe it's important that we as a board and you as a committee have the option to apply excess funds to lower the levy, especially during the budget process. And hopefully this language helps ensure that. In addition, we have the new number 3, which is to establish a budget stabilization fund. I don't think that's necessary. I simply think that would be another avenue to put money into another fund, leaving less money available to the taxpayers. I think we need to remember this fund was created because of overtaxation. And it is one way to return the funds back to the taxpayers. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So what is the wording again,
I've got it here.
okay,
Okay,
You have it? The wording?
or applied to the tax levy.
Yes,
That would be on number one.
and deletion of number 3.
Well,
Be my-
when we get to that point, we'll talk about that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments coming from inside here? Excuse me, boys. Anybody want to speak up, or have something to say, come forward? Okay, do we have anybody on Zoom?
Thank you, Chairman Cox. I appreciate it. I will be very brief. Vice Chair Fari brought up some of the concerns that I was going to mention. So I'll just leave it at that. Look forward to the discussion.
Could you speak up, sir?
Yes, is this better? I apologize.
Yeah, give us your address and your,
Oh,
and your supervisor, district.
thank you. Conley Hanson, Supervisor, District 26. Vice Chair Fari addressed something that I was going to do on your item number 17. So looking forward to that discussion. I'm also looking forward to the discussion on the lease agreements. That's your item number 15. And also anxious to hear discussion on the resolution on number 9. Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for your comments. I want to get that here just a second. Since we have no further comments on Zoom, correct? No further comments on Zoom, and no further comments in here. We'll close that item on the agenda and move forward to the general fund, CIP report, and general policy update. We have the policy on our desk, so I don't know that you need to update us right now.
I'll just go on the capital projects. I gave you the sheet in front of you. The main one I got was, billing is almost complete for DHS elevators. That's been up and running according to Mike Elder for a couple months. I did just receive a phone call this morning from the airport that said they're complete with the T hangers. All is left is the billing and the sign off from the, our final bill from them. The ones I highlighted in yellow that say closed, they are gonna be coming off of this report as I'm closing them projects, moving them into fixed assets and starting to do the entries for the auditors coming in. The auditors will be here Monday, so I have some questions for them on capital projects and some of the things we are doing. What we're doing is correct. I just wanna do it as we start projects. That's when we actually assign a project number and designate funds to it. Otherwise, we have them all designated for the year that the board has approved the funding. So that's what I have. There's probably 2 or 3 other ones I'm going to try to get closed before we close 2023 with the auditors. I'm just working with certain departments that want to leave them open right now for the last couple things they think they need to do. But that's all I've got on capital projects for now.
Any questions?
The board house, is that closed out? I don't see it on here.
What else is in the capital project is capital outlay. It was never put on the capital project list. I could never bond for it. So that seems something I'm also trying to change, as we'll see with the one resolution coming up today is I want to be able to bond if I have bond proceeds to use that.
So, but it's probably not paid for because the door's not on yet.
It's not 100% paid for, it's maybe 50%, I think we paid on that so far.
Yeah, I think he's waiting to get his barge up here to put the door in, so.
Else? Any questions? Betsy? Okay. Anything else?
No,
Okay, let's move on to, got a pretty full schedule here. We'll get to the business items. Elsie, would you take the first item, please? First item is the tax, rem tax, and that would be with, Amber Hoppa. She's coming to give us a presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to talk to you about establishing values on 3 of the foreclosed properties we took back in October. One of them is notably known as Whiskey's Tavern. And it's in a pretty dilapidated state. So with the item agenda report, I did include, our expense sheet on it that kind of shows what we have vested in the property. Currently we're at a little over 50,000. This does not include any costs that have come up since, because I do get monthly water bills, stormwater bills. Does not take into consideration any of the costs associated with publication or the sale of the property. There is 2 holes in the ceiling, or in the roof, I should say, that are going through to the main floor of the bar. There's a ton of black mold in the property. I've gone through with the city as well as a few different investors. There is quite a bit of interest in it. So I took all of this into consideration when coming up with the starting bid at 75,000, just due to the fact that it's going to have to be completely redone. The other 2 parcels are in the city of Amiral, owned by a woman who had passed away, so it stood vacant for the last 5 years. And we had some pipes burst in there a few winters ago, so everything's shut down in there. There's water in the basement. There's some foundation issues. So I did take a realtor through that one. It is a very dated property. He did say that it's gonna have to be kind of completely redone due to bringing it back up to code. So the wiring's all copper, which is pretty ancient. The lot behind there, she also owned, and I'm not gonna pursue selling them together because technically any of the adjacent owners could extend their yard. And that one I kept pretty much at the assessed value of 1,000 because it's just open, vacant lot. It's just landlocked, so you can't access it from the roadway. Free for questions?
Is it in probate at all, the property?
No. Her son lives out in New York and walked away from it, and there was no probate opened for the estate.
I was at the facilities meeting and they wanted to know, do we actually get somebody to appraise these before we put a price on them, or do we just guess at the price and do that ourselves?
We more or less guess. I did meet with Bill from First Weber at all 3. Well, the 2 Armor properties are right next to each other, but I did meet with him. And he did go through and give me kind of a market analysis on both properties. Whiskey's did come in fairly high at a little over 100,000, but he did fully expect us to take a loss on it due to the condition of the property.
I know they're currently working on like an appraisal policy for the county, and because if they sell for more money than we owe, now we have to give them that money. So we have to make sure we're doing our due diligence and not selling it too cheap, because they could basically come back after us and say that, you know, we sold that for considerably less than what the value of it was. And without a real appraisal, I don't know if we're covering all of our liabilities.
Okay.
Any question? Betsy, you've got any questions? You're real estate.
Oh, well, if it's $1,000 lot, you don't wanna do an appraisal, because that'll cost more than half of what the lot's worth.
Well,
I mean, if you do an official appraisal, that would be
I'm
counter,
thinking more of the whiskey bar on Oregon.
right, it's
It's got
still,
holes in the ceiling, I mean, if they put a back
that's gonna be,
wing
yeah.
on there that was probably $100,000 several years back, you know, and I just don't wanna see somebody come back after us and say we sold it, it's on the tax roll for $150,000, I realize there's mold and damage to it.
Usually, I mean, it's to the person who's purchasing it, the buyer, so typically. Right, it's usually to the buyer's
Right.
detriment if, they come in and they could do whatever they want, and then if they're getting a loan, I mean, they're gonna have an appraisal anyway.
Right, I don't think that we would get a loan on that building, it's got holes in the roof.
Right, exactly, well, it won't, exactly, but, I mean, this is-
Cash and, you know, I'm just saying,
I don't think anybody could come back like that, I mean, I've never heard of that before.
I've never heard of that.
Yes,
I just want to point out that in the appraisal policy that the facilities committee talked about, they specifically had an exemption for tax deeded properties. Given the state with Tyler versus Hennepin, the United States Supreme Court decision that Supervisor Binder was alluding to in terms of if you are owed, let's say, $10,000 in back taxes, and I know we've talked about this, and the property sells for $20,000, the United States Supreme Court said that extra $10,000, at least at the beginning could not be pocketed because it was an unlawful taking. So I think that's what you were alluding to. But in terms of this appraisal policy that facilities has been wrangling with, one of the specific provisos is that tax deeded properties are exempt from it.
Okay.
so you're assessing the value rather than appraising the value.
Right.
And that's where we're at. Okay, any other questions? None? We'll take a vote.
I'd like to make a motion
Make a
for, the resolution to approve values on in-realm tax deeded properties.
Thank you, Tom. Now we'll take a vote.
I,
Aye. 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
well, I don't, this was.
We're on item 2, and that would be the sheriff. Morning, John. Good morning. Okay, this item 2, Steve, is the resolution authorizing the sheriff to accept an in-kind donation from Thomas and Penny Hardberg for the K-9 unit. You want to explain a little bit on it?
Sure, this is the third canine that they will have purchased a replacement for. They've been supporters of our canine program. Obviously, it saves tax dollars. We do have a canine fund as well at the area community foundation, which covers the cost of vet bills and food and those types of things, and housing when they're kenneling when the handler is gone. So really the cost of the program is picked up by donations to include the exceptional donations that they have given.
We got a motion to get the discussion on the board.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation from Thomas and Penny Ehrenberg for an additional K-9 equipment training valued at $17,000.
Thank you, Dave. Okay. Any questions at all?
And to clarify, this is a replacement, not an additional. So we're retiring one of our dogs who has been with us almost 11 years.
Okay, good.
About that, I've talked to a police officer in Neenah, and they had a dog with them for years while they were on. Is it true that when the person retires, the dog has to retire with them because of the loyalty between I was just Just a curious question.
Yes, we give the dog to the handler for $1. And there are more than just the relationship that they've created. We don't want a dog with that kind of training out in the public where it would be either purchased or given to someone else. They are highly trained and extremely obedient, but certainly not something which, and that's the standard throughout the country, actually.
I was surprised when I heard that. I just found that very interesting
Yeah.
and I thought that was a wonderful way to do it. So thank
Yes.
you.
We can switch handlers. We've done that before where somebody either gets promoted or whatever it might be, but we can switch handlers, but once they retire, that's becomes the previous handler's property for $1. And it makes perfect sense, I think.
I do.
I'd like to vote on the resolution, please.
I,
Aye.
Aye, that's 5-0.
Chairman Cox,
Yes,
just for clarification, the vote required for passage is not listed as majority of members present.
that's not on the resolution you're talking about. It's not.
That's correct.
Because it's under a certain amount?
Excuse me?
Is it because it's under a certain amount?
No, because this is not in terms of the grant and getting the money for a specific thing. This is in terms of an implementation. So if it's not specified, it's majority of members present. And unfortunately, I was on vacation and I guess this went through without these days.
Yes, we've got a couple of them like that in here. If you've taken a look at the packet, Mary Ann,
Yeah.
so. We have a second issue, 3, resolution authorizing the sheriff to accept accept a cash donation of $3,500 from EAA Air Venture. And you want to explain?
Yes, and this is part of the fund that I talked about that is kept at the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation. The Air Venture had a 5K and all the money that was raised during that is going to our K-9 fund.
Okay. That's you wanna,
Is that one of those things also that we're just here? Mary Ann?
this is a budget.
It's just listed.
Okay.
This is a budget request.
Okay, so, I'd like to move the resolution to authorize to accept cash donation $3,500.
And the budget transfer, or the budget amendment that goes with it. Okay. A second on that?
Second.
And Steve? Vote?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Okay, we have a third here, Sheriff. Well, I got lucky today. This resolution is the authorization of Winnebago County to apply for and accept expended funds of the $990,000 from the United States Department of Justice for the purchase of 3 ice rescue airboats. Can I get a motion to amend or motion to approve?
second.
Okay, thanks, Don. You want to give us a little on that?
Yes, so this is congressional direct spending that was actually delayed due to the current federal budget and it getting just approved for a period of 60 days or whatever at a time. The House just approved this part of the budget yesterday. So we anticipate that it will go to the Senate and then to the president very soon, probably by next week, I would imagine. And, we have already have an RFP out for the 3 boats. All of our boats are 20+ years old. They take, an extreme beating during the, winter months when we do ice rescues. As you recall, the presentation on what we had, I believe, in 2021 or 22, I can't remember, where 25 people were saved from the ice between Poygan, Butamore, and Winnebago. So that was when we had the snow squall, horrendous. And there was damage that was done to the boats that was significant. We recently had one of the boats go down. It's an unknown amount of repair, somewhere around $20,000. We opted not to repair it and lease a boat, which is now coming at the end of the lease. Now, this year I'm not sure if it's an anomaly based on what we had for ice conditions and the warm weather. But obviously we have to be prepared with the amount of waterways that we have. This will allow us to replace all of our boats. This is not a match. This is a full purchase amount for 3 new boats. We'll be fine for the next 20 years.
You've got a short season this year.
We did.
You got lucky.
Let's not talk about it.
Right, we'll end up with
Yeah.
Arctic freeze.
April 15th had a big blizzard 3 years ago, 4 years, 5 years ago. I don't know.
Okay. We've got a motion, and we've got a second, and we get a vote.
Aye.
All right, that's a 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to pass it on to your staff, we're grateful that they put in for that money, because if we would have got it from the federal government, it was gonna come from our taxpayers.
Yes, it would have been a capital. We do have it in the capital outlay. So once this is done, we'll remove that.
Yeah.
It still might happen if
Great
they
news.
sign.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't wanna, I'm probably counting on
Fingers up.
this patch, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5. Resolution approving 51,000 for our budget amendment. Approving 51,000 for the Winnebago medical examiners expenses of 3. Hi, Cheryl, how you doing? Good. Okay, you want to give us some?
Absolutely. Once again, I'm over budget this year, and it's in the same 3 categories that it's been the last 2 years. In the toxicology, the autopsy, and the transportation. Autopsies obviously went up along with our overdoses. So those needed to be autopsy, toxicology. Some of the testing had gone up, plus there was additional expanded testing that needed to be completed because of some of the new substances that are coming in. We have the 4 aviation deaths, which is more testing, x-rays, full body x-rays, things like that. Transportation and storage were still in the same situation, which is hoping to be changed. I'm told we're gonna break ground in April with a completion of November.
Good. Good. We got somebody that wants to bring that motion on the floor, please?
I will.
Go ahead.
I move for the resolution approving 51,000 budget amended for the ME office.
Second.
Thank you, Beth. You got a vote? Very well.
Aye.
Okay. Aye, we got 5 votes. 5 ayes. Thank you very much. Whole discussion on that. Okay, Adam. Couple here for you. These are budget amendments. Both of them. The first one is for the purchase of the disc golf baskets, and the second one is for the cameras for Grumman. Let us know.
You want me to do both or one at a time?
We'll start with the baskets real quick.
So we have 36 disc golf baskets in the community park, 36-hole course. 2 years ago, we changed out the signage, moved some tees around, according to what the users are looking for. We were looking to take a unique approach, with this particular part of our master plan for the community park was to finish the disc golf, course. And we're trying to take a unique approach by selling our existing baskets and then using those funds to purchase new baskets. So we've been working with the disc golf users. Obviously they'll have to go out, so the whole public can bid on them. But there's a lot of interest from the user groups themselves because they'd like to put them in their backyard. They've maybe been at the, community park for, 10, 15, 20 years playing on the course. So we'd like to basically try to fund our baskets by selling our existing ones, which will require us to sell them and immediately remove and switch out with the new ones. So we're looking to basically add the revenue and add the expense to match.
Okay. We want to put a motion on the floor for the disc baskets.
I'll make a motion to purchase park disc golf baskets for $5,400.
Second,
You Betsy. Okay, before we go to vote, I think we,
I have a question, then I'll ask, what, why was it 3-1 voting?
I don't know, Steve, if you were the ones, I don't know.
Yeah, they were doing it as a fundraiser, and I just have a hard time for a fundraiser selling our stuff. A fundraiser is like a brat sale, a candy bar sale. If we sell the baskets, the money should have just came back to the parks. It's just, way they started doing a fundraiser selling our baskets, I just don't quite get how it's not really a fundraiser, they're selling our product. It'd be like buying a new desk and somebody saying, well, we'll sell your desk and get your money back for you. I'm not opposed to buying the baskets, but I'm opposed to them saying they're doing a fundraiser for the parks, selling our baskets.
Is it a fundraiser?
Well, and just to clarify, we are selling baskets. So it's
Yeah.
our property, we're gonna sell it on, Wisconsin surplus, or basically our surplus. so
Like we
that-
normally do,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Right.
We just- we-
When you presented it, you said it was a fundraiser.
Correct, because we coordinated with the disc golf users to make sure there's an interest out there to purchase them, to get an idea of how much they would buy them for, to see if it's feasible to then match.
Can I
basically
get an
the
assessment for the price of a unit
Correct.
basket? Okay.
We didn't want
I
to put
just
them out
didn't
there,
agree
they
with
sell
the
$20 basket.
But I don't think it's a fundraiser that's not what it actually is anymore, so.
Right, and I voted for it, and I agree, but I don't think that a fundraiser selling our product is a fundraiser.
okay, anything else? Done?
We got enough people, we can pull it with all
He's coming back, I can hear the door.
No, it was for the front door.
Oh, gee, okay, we're gonna vote short one, man, that's it, okay. Vote.
I,
Aye. 4-0. Okay, that's. Item 1 for Adam. Got the Grumman both cameras.
So this request is, when we did the Grumman Bolt Landing project, we did not have, cameras in the project. We did account for conduit underneath the asphalt to the large parking lot, so that way we don't have to cut into it in the future. We were hoping, typically about a 5% contingency on a construction project. It did come in with only 2%, so we had 41,000. We did have a few change orders that were more vital that we needed to make when it came to the landing. So we don't have enough funds to purchase cameras, so we had the conduit, but we need the cameras. The cabling facilities is going to run the cable. And then, the contract, basically all the way up the pole, and the contractor will install the cameras. So there's some long runs on this, particular, for the cabling, about 200-300 feet, so that's why the cost is a little bit higher, but it'll include a license plate camera, the computer system inside the bathroom, so that way we can access the cameras and the, cameras by the launch and by the bathroom shelter area.
Is that fiber or is that?
No, it is, so we would have pulled fiber all the way from County A, and we thought this was more of a cost-effective approach.
So,
So we're using Cat 6.
okay, and that's protected?
Yeah, it's in its own conduit.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay,
the move to approve the contingency fund use for the cameras for Grumman boat landing for 18,000.
thank you, Betsy. Second on that?
Second.
Steve. Okay, the four of us are still here.
I
I,
have a comment.
Yes, sir.
The reason I didn't vote for this is because I think we need cameras in County Park. Like if you look at where the green pavilion is, there's donuts all spawned in that parking lot all over. They're tearing the grass up. I agree we need the cameras out at the Gunman Bowl Landing, but we need to get cameras in County Park. They're damaging the soccer fields. I mean, we're gonna spend almost $500,000 repairing soccer fields. And they go out there and they spin donuts in the soccer fields and we have to make repairs. You know, it's necessary when we do the parks to get some cameras out there so we can catch those people. I mean, we had that parking lot done and we had it restriped and you go out there, there's black rubber spinning donuts all over in that parking lot. You know, it doesn't look good for the community where you see people, they know when you see a circle that somebody's in there burning up their tires, you know, I'd like to see cameras in the park.
what does that have to do with this one?
Hold on a second.
I don't understand.
Hold on a second. He's just making a comment. We're gonna leave it at that.
Yep.
Okay, all right, and we'll have a full vote. Everybody voting?
Yep.
You're voting for it?
I'm voting for it.
Okay, 4-0. Thank you. Thank you, Adam.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I'd like to introduce Ashley Gramlow. Ashley is one of our public health supervisors. This is a project that is within her division, and I asked her to come today to answer any questions and to get a little experience presenting to Tina.
Thank you. So what I have before you is a grant through the AHW, which is a part of the Medical College of Wisconsin. It's $50,000. Our role is really as pass-through. It's a partnership with community partners, and the two primary pieces of the project that they'll be carrying through is to host eCPR, emotional CPR training, which is training folks in the public to be able to respond to emotional needs of their peers, their colleagues, those sorts of things. So those are 2-day, full-day trainings. They'll be held 4 times throughout 2024, free and open to the community. The second part of the project is to host these pop-up community living room spaces. It's a non-clinical, kind of casual place for people to come and connect and get their social support needs met. So the focus is really on connection and the belief that connection is prevention. It is not duplicative of any other services that we have here in the county and really meant to be complementary to all of the other things that are happening in the county and specifically in our human services department.
Do we want to get this on the floor?
I'd like to move to approve the resolution approving 500.
I mean,
$50,000 from the advancing of a healthier AHW.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, and this is a budget amendment coming from an endowment fund.
correct.
So, Sharon, this would be a 2/3 vote.
It should have been a 2/3 vote on here, yeah. Okay, we can have a vote. We got it on the floor. We're gonna have, you want comments first? Anybody have comments?
Thank you.
Okay. Have a vote.
I,
Aye. 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Doug, we want to save you for a minute here.
You bet. So your next item is a transfer from the public health reserve to fund a data exchange pilot, project. It's a tri-county project. You have a presentation at a special orders meeting regarding this.
This is a budget amendment as well. And
Right, but this difference is that you're not accepting a grant, you are providing a grant.
yeah,
So therefore, the 2/3 is not applicable, because we're not accepting a grant.
This
for
is-
specific
this is by majority.
Correct.
And with me this morning, was Jason Schulis, the executive director of the Fox Valley Data.
I'm getting to know him very well. Yeah, hi. Give us just a little rundown on what type of data program that you're going to be
Sure.
installing.
So the Fox Valley Data Exchange is a tri-county effort to make data visible and easy to find in our community. So it's a publicly available database that will launch likely in the first half of this year. It will also have a back end capability to take local data, make it visible, and also to do analysis for the community. It helps to save costs, helps people from not having to scrounge around looking for data because it's all in one place. It makes it easy, gets everybody on the same page, and makes it a public good that anybody can use to make better decisions in the community.
And you've seen this in action, right? Doug?
Definitely see this as an asset. We spend significant amount of time, looking for data. As I mentioned, that county board, we probably spent a couple of FTE just putting together a community health needs assessment to pull all that data together. This is, available to the public, so they'll have a way to see data like they've never been able to access it before, because they won't have to figure out how to download data from the census or make data agreements with other organizations. It'll just be there. So, dozens, hundreds of indicators that the community and our community partners can use. And we were just talking this morning about some of the questions from the meeting, and Ashley and I had talked about, overdose data. And, back in 2020, there was really a concerted effort to try to pull together data related to overdoses. So hospital data, law enforcement data, coroner data, all into one place. And ultimately, that project was abandoned. It was just beyond what we could do with the staffing that we had. And, a project like this takes a chunk of the work out of that, and helps us pull those data pieces together. Hopefully helps us create dashboards that we can start to, see more information, more real time, and helps us hopefully, generate some actionable, items from that data.
Thank you. Can we get a motion on floor?
I'll make a motion to approve $300,000 from Winnebago County Health Fund balance to provide a grant to build an online community database, public community organization, government, school departments.
Second, anybody? Anybody? Second on that? No. No second. Huh? I'm not seconding. Okay, we don't have a second, and that resolution's gonna die for lack of a second.
So it would be helpful to understand, what the second is for, what the rationale is for not wanting to support, this.
I can give you my rationale.
This page for me.
Right here.
Thank you. And for
It's
you,
socialism. That's the reason.
For me, it's the money stuff. I need to see the commitment from and I wanted to see a Excel sheet. I wanted to see where the money's actually coming from, and then the comment that was made about, we give 300,000, well, say goodbye to your money. That's pretty much what did it. I love the project. I need to know where the money is, because that's 300,000, my taxpayers' money that I represent, so I just need to know that stuff.
And I also suggest that you read the book from William Federer on socialism, because it'll help you understand. It's an excellent book.
Okay, we're gonna have to go on to the next. I'm sorry, Doug, didn't gonna work. Okay, Paul? Don't need you for the transfers for the contingency fund, various pay increases we don't have.
Okay, so when the 2022 budget, 2023 budget was done in 2022 passed, there was $2 million that was put aside for labor contingency. That $2 million was everything you have heard throughout Director Collar and Abba as far as the changes in the wage categories and the class and the raising of the tiers of the brackets and then the raises for the county. So of that $2 million that was budgeted, 1.645 is what is being used of that contingency. And we wanted to show the whole page, which was Schedule A, which I included in your packet, which is a listing of each department, and it shows which ones were over, which ones were under. So I wanted to show the 1.645 is what's being used of the 2 million that we had set aside. What I also wanted to point out was also why I included Schedule A was when you look at the revised budget, it is 96.2. What we actually spent is 92.4. So when you're looking at actuals, we're 3.8 under what we budgeted. But when you look at the contingency fund we put aside of 2 million, we use 1.6. Of that 3.8, majority of it is part of you. They could not get people hired and we could not service a lot of potential residents. So the revenue is down along with their wages being down. So they still are better off than they have been in many years, but they still have used tax levy this year. They're over budget, but they're still not self-sustaining. So I kind of wanted to wrap all that up along with the labor contingency funds. So if you have any questions on that.
You want to get it on the floor? That's just a budget transfer. So
I move for the resolution to approve the budget transfer of $1,645,997 from the contingency fund to various funds.
Second.
thank you, Betsy. Any questions?
Yes.
The corporation council? Yes.
I know, again, if the vote required for passage, that's incorrect, it should be 2 months of membership.
You gotta stay longer at night or come in when you're not, when you're on vacation. They're planning against you. You want to vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Vote. Okay, we got carryovers, type 1 and type 2. You want to explain a little bit about that?
Type 1 carryovers are pretty much, they get carried over as a part of accounting finance for end of year to beginning of year. Them are purchase orders that have already been committed and contracts that have already been signed. So them go forward as from year to year going forward. Carryover, that's type 1. type two carryovers are other things that money was appropriated for 2023, was not spent at that point. Departments have asked for that to be carried over from last year because they were not able to get that done or spend the money to get them items taken care of, and then there's the whole list of type two carryover.
So roll over prior year appropriations.
Yes.
Okay, we need an amendment, or pardon me, a motion for type one. Somebody,
Do we need that, or is that automatic?
I thought the resolution was only type two, or is it both?
no. We buried them. We don't have a resolution. No,
No, that they
It's on the
both,
resolution.
I think the agenda item report says motion to approve the type one. I think the type one are informational for the committee. Type two can be approved by the committee. Personnel Finance Committee, but don't have to go to county boards. So there's no resolution.
no, there isn't, but we do need to have it on the floor for any
For
discussion.
the type two, yes.
Type two?
Type one is discussion for type two. For the motion.
Okay, so for type two, we want a motion to get it on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Supervisor Cox?
No.
That one sheet I gave you, I think was a type two that had a change to the account number.
Yes,
So move with the, change in the account number. Do I need to put that in there or is that okay?
do you have that in front of you?
With
Page
my-
85, I think it is on the PowerPoint.
It's the account number for stationery forms for the sheriff. And it's instead of 53,001, it's 52,001. Okay. Otherwise, everything is the same.
Yes.
So that is a friendly amendment.
Sure. Accept it. Friendly amendment of the change.
Of the change.
Mhm.
Okay. I have a vote.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Easy peasy.
So that's,
Boy, when I was doing this last year, I got a lot more. He was prepared for that.
It's Paul.
so that gets us through items 11 and 12. But the 13 is a budget transfer for the unassigned general fund for the amount of 266,400 for the highway department. And we do have a budget transfer for that. And I don't know if he's got pictures. We got pictures.
You do a picture.
I have pictures. And where's the transfer? Okay. There you go. The job has already been done, from what I understand.
Yes.
So the transfer itself, and it's a secondary thing just to make things right. Okay. So the money is already moved over and we're gonna have a vote here real quick.
First part. Aye.
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 Aye. That's a 5-0. You didn't have to say anything. Thank you very much.
Easy peasy.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You feeling okay?
Oh, doing good.
There you go.
Keep the ball rolling.
Mr. Elder is here to do item 14, the additional funding for the capital improvement project for the office configuration and the mold remediation over at the highway department. So you move to
Second.
bring it on floor, Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. All right, this is a budget amendment. We've got the amendment in our hands, but we also have with it a resolution that's going to get this. I don't know, did Paul give you a copy of it?
Yeah, I think I've got a copy of it.
Yeah. Okay, that's a 2/3 vote when it comes to the floor.
Right.
Okay, it's been already told us, and it is for 205,000 to increase the building project. Actually, it brings the money from the current funds that you have there. Okay,
Right.
and it's like a change order of sorts.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And we went out for bid on this and we got 4 bidders and, they were all higher than what we had anticipated for the cost of the building. So this is to hire the low bidder and continue the project going and, take care of the problems out at the highway shop. We've been experiencing some strange things with bidding. I've got one project we're going out probably for our 3rd bid now. Because the first time we got no bidders, the second time the bid was significantly high. And, we're changing the project now to see how we can get the work done within the budget.
Good. Can we get a motion and bring it on the floor so we've got it? Just,
We did. Do we?
yes, we did. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, no problem.
Give us a blessing, give us the votes. Need the votes.
Aye.
Mr.
Chairman,
It's 5.
we had a adjustment potentially to the resolution, though.
Pardon me?
We wanted to change the resolution or amend it.
Oh, yeah. That PG handed us.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
then Mary Ann and Mike had some better wording on that.
All right. Why don't we take a look at the now thereafter be it resolved. At the bottom, there was some language used and we're gonna cross it off. Leave the regular, the current language on there, the language at line number 23 to include or prior bond issue. Okay, so it would be will be later reimbursed by a subsequent or prior bond issue on that. And then the additional scribbles on that, on line 24, we're no longer using. Okay.
And the vote is 2/3.
Pardon me?
The vote is 2/3.
Yeah, the vote is 2/3. So we wouldn't want, that'd be line 33, we wouldn't want the majority members on it, so.
Vote or comment?
But, pardon?
Am I voting or commenting?
We would probably need to amend this resolution before voting on it.
Did you?
Did I do the so moved? Was it me? I was the second. Who was
Yeah.
the original?
Dave,
Dave? So do you want to do a friendly amendment that it's for this and then we have to re-vote? Is that how it works?
I don't know, just make a friendly amendment and we'll have the. I'd like to make a friendly amendment. The friendly amendment will have 4 prior bond issue on line 20. And 2/3
Membership.
2/3 the membership on line 33.
And should that also be carried down to 28, line 28 also?
Technically, that's not part of the resolution, so I can
No.
read that myself.
Okay, okay, perfect. That's awesome.
Okay,
And I second that friendly resolution. I don't know if I have, or friendly amendment. I don't think I have to, but if I'm gonna do it anyway.
thank you.
Now we get the revote.
Now for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
That's it.
Okay, and we have number 15, 16. This would be Mike, you have a question?
Oh, no, I was just gonna stay here if you had questions about number 15.
Number 15, we're pulling, and we won't be putting it back on the schedule till our next meeting.
Okay.
So that will come on. Number 16. Do we have a quote on the bids or physical note on number 16, which is 38.5 for the procurement processors? You have that?
We have,
Yeah, do you have the quote or the physical note or both for number 16?
for number 16, this would be a contingency fund use. So under 40,000, so it can be approved by personnel and finance. So there's no resolution, there's no fiscal note. This would be to establish a budget. We would then go through a competitive process to select the software. So we don't know the exact price. We got some information about
Now,
what's
it's
available.
going on at the wall right now until we find a price or till we get a quote.
We can't get a quote until we have a budget, so we have some budget approved by this committee.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Could you just, Elizabeth, could you move to carry it forward?
For this,
move now?
I can move that, yeah.
Wait a second, wait a second, before we do that, we're pulling 15, okay? And we're pulling 15 to carry it over to the next meeting. All right, just so we know where we're at. Number 16 is a subscription and implementation of costs of software to improve the procurement process of 38,500. That's supposed to come from a contingency. In other words, we're supposed to provide that without a bid. Okay, and without knowing, the actual cost of the software. We're just gonna put that money out there. And that's why I'm asking Mike to give us a bid or get us a quote in order to put that out there. Otherwise, I'm gonna pull it, period. Okay? And
He
we'll
just
wait.
said he got, a good idea what the cost is.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah, we looked at 3 different software packages and got pricing, but we don't have a bid because we don't have a budget yet.
Yeah.
So obviously we have some information that this will be enough.
Well, why don't we have at least the quote for the bids? Whatever they give you.
It's not a formal quote. Since we don't have any budget yet. This is not unusual, is it? No.
No, I didn't think so.
Go ahead and put it out there, Betsy.
Like to approve the contingency fund used for the subscription implementation costs.
Second.
Let us know what it costs.
Sure.
So when we put it into our contingency, we've got a final total. So where are we at with Betsy's? We're gonna vote on that. All right.
I,
Aye. Item 17, which is the approval of the resolution for our reserve policy. Okay. We want to bring it to the floor. Do you want to start this discussion, just start discussion on it first, and then we bring it to the floor.
However you want.
For the commendation you're talking about? No, this is a resolution to approve the Winnebago County Fund Reserve.
number 17, Dave.
All move to approve it.
Second,
You want to explain it or?
Okay, this is the third time, this has come before P and F. This time we have agenda item for it along with a resolution. I did go through this with, Director Collard. We did move, I did include a changes, document along with the final draft. And then I did also go through and make another change because I talked with Supervisor Cox on a change that he wanted in there, the policy. So we went forward, I talked to the executive on that after the change and he was okay with that. So basically when I started looking at the fund reserve policy and originally when I looked at it, the 2020 model only talked about the unassigned general fund for the most part. Didn't talk about too much of the other funds in Winnebago County. So as I started digging into this, I found out we had like 30-some funds all over the place and they're unassigned, they're assigned, they're committed, they're, non-spendable. Delinquent taxes would be a case of that. So I wanted to put together a document that was more inclusive of explaining what we have in Winnebago County as funds, which we have the general fund, which is the main fund that is being used for the budget and for most of the departments. But then there are also Parkview Health Fund, Airport Fund, Highway Fund, and we're not forgetting
solid waste.
Solid Waste Fund. So there are them funds. There's also a debt service fund, the capital projects fund. There's also internal service funds, which are for dental and health, property and workers' comp and so forth and so on. There's also special revenue funds, which are our spirit fund now, opioid fund and neighborhood improvement fund. So I tried to give a definition of what all the funds are with a calculation of looking at the unassigned and assigned general fund of where we should be. Because when I talked to both, not both, but all of, I talked to Baird, Justin, who does the bonding for us. I talked to GFOA. I also talked to Kerber Rose, as a consultant. So I talked to many people on this policy. I kind of looked at what GFOA does as best practice. I also tried to incorporate some of the things that Wisconsin State has done, as far as their budget policy. So that is why I added in a budget stabilization fund or part of that, in this document. So that is trying to come up all inclusive, looking at it, coming up with a mathematical calculation that made sense, that can be repeatable. The other one seemed a little ambiguous. One, I asked 3 different people and I had 3 different answers for what should be included, what should not be included doing the calculation. So I think it's a little bit clear of this is what's in there. This is your numerator and denominator. Now that Director Collier showed that I had them backwards a bit originally. So, that basically sums up, and I'm trying to get the policy in place, and this is the first policy I've tried to write for the county, and it's taken much longer than I thought it would.
It's the last one too?
I hope not.
Can't believe it.
How are your feelings about the budget stabilization fund in that title?
I like it in there because when I look back, and I don't know if it's gonna be a shock, or I'm gonna open up a can of worms, but as most of you have learned, I basically say what it is. Throughout the last several years and even before the current county executive, the unassigned general fund was used as a budget stabilization tool, even though it was put in the budget, where it wasn't seen by maybe some people. Others might have known that it was in there, but it was in there. It was a holder of money from the unassigned general fund. So in my opinion, it's a little more clear when you're designating it as budget stabilization tool and you're showing that, and you put that line item in the budget accordingly, it's a little more transparent. Was my only reason for including it in the policy.
I think it looks like a marker, more or less, a placeholder. Don't go beyond this amount, or, no,
Well, it goes back to the article you gave me
yeah,
in that pamphlet about what Wisconsin did with, their budget and how they were very not ready for it. I mean, I am feeling very honored for Winnebago County that what I was handed is a very healthy county.
Yeah.
And I want to put more processes in place that can just be followed, and go forward.
we look back to the state and we take a look at, back in the times of Doyle and how we were, in deficit spending. And we look at how since Walker came in and as we move forward, how that grew and how they stabilized their accounts. They made some other changes, but granted, they're very stable now with the budget. They hold that place open so that they can afford to do other things.
They got a ton of excess money.
I realize that, and they also are sharing the profit share, or the sharing, the state sharing. Well, I know. Anyway, not to get into all of that, I think the stabilization is an important thing. I think that we've got to look to things that, like inflation, like recession, and those kind of things. Those are bad words, and we don't want to get to, to a point where we have to depend on the stabilization program to carry on and take care of the budget or the levy and whatever else. We can't be holding back too much, but we do have to have something in there for, for the rainy day, more or less, so. I would say, you've done a great job with it. I don't really agree with some of the points that were made earlier. And pulling any of that out of there. I think we need that in there, so that's my view on it, but you're the committee, you're the ones that are going to vote on it, and I want
We have
to hear
to
from you.
make a motion.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
I think we already did that.
I think we
Yeah, I think
did.
we already did the motion,
Yes,
yeah.
we did.
We're
We're
in
gonna vote
discussion.
on it now, but I want you to
Well, I have
state your opinion.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So why would we not have it, like Supervisor Farley said, applied to the tax levy or applied to the tax levy. Why would we not have that? What's the negative of that?
I don't know the negative. I will default to Director Collard has an opinion on that, but if we have the budget and we have the tax levy, if you don't have the budget to spend the money, then you have it. We've been decreasing the tax levy for the last several years. So I think that is just being done as a practice for the county. Putting it into policy, I think then potentially limits you, but I'll default it. You got more insight and more.
It's an or, it's not saying it's gonna do this, it says.
Yeah, if it's optional, I don't know that I'd have a problem with doing that. I don't know if it's necessary, just because the way I would look at the budget stabilization fund is that would be used to levy or reduce the tax levy at the county board's discretion. No, if they feel that's what a stabilization fund might be used for. If the levy's too high, or if we have too many excess funds, we apply that fund balance in the next budget. That's how it would have to be happen anyway. And we apply general fund unassigned balance to the budget every year anyway, because there's always some more fund balance created by inevitably departments underspend their budgets. They don't want to go over, so they sometimes have to budget for things that don't happen.
So it's something we're already doing.
So yeah, we absolutely do that already. And the board certainly always has the option to reduce the tax levy, whether it's tied directly to this policy or not. So I think you could either say the budget stabilization fund is the tool we use to reduce the levy, which I think would be a very accurate way of looking at it. But if you prefer, say up front, we could use this to reduce tax levy. I don't think that would have any problem.
So Supervisor Farley can bring this up
Question?
at the county board.
Sure.
Can I ask
Go
a
ahead.
question from that, because that brings
Look to
something in
me.
my head now. Prior to, like you and how we're doing it now, and after you, is this something that have been practiced or could be practiced? So I guess my point is, that's how we do it now, but prior to you, were they doing it that way? Did they need that or, do you know what I mean? And then after, because you're retiring, which I hate to see. But you see my point, it's like, is that something in there that we should put in there? And or but, or is it something that is just practiced throughout no matter what? Does that make
Since I've been
sense?
here, every year, the board has applied some fund balance, some unassigned general fund balance to the budget. All right. Does it reduce the levy in every case? No, because we're usually
Mhm,
taxing at the levy cap
mhm.
for total dollar amount. But it's always been understood, certainly my impression, that the board understands it has the ability to lower that tax levy, if it chooses to. And so there have been certain years where we haven't. A couple of years ago, which year was it, 22? We left a little bit out. We taxed a little bit below the cap, to provide a little bit of extra, in the case it's needed for some developments with the state calculating our levy cap, for instance. Here we had to pay a little extra because we had miscalculated that. So I don't know if it really has a practical impact, except it's more maybe a clearer understanding. And I think either way provides a little bit clearer understanding to call it a budget stabilization fund, or just put it here, we can use some to reduce the levy. But I think it's always been understood the board has authority to do that regardless of this policy.
That's really, the board makes the final decision as to what they want to put into the budget, what they want to take away from the budget.
Absolutely.
And we are giving back, we're giving back the dollars, but within our tax levy. By extending where we get the money from and what we're doing with, whether it's contingency funds or whether it's, the stabilization fund or the undesignated fund, as we call it. Okay. However, we balance the levy out across all of the departments in some way or another. So we reduced the taxes, and the end result is that the people of Winnebago County get a reduced tax load when it comes to what the county has to take from them or give to them at the end.
I'm just worried about, I just wanted to make sure we need to have that and or for future boards. That was it. So if you don't think it's necessary, I won't mess with it. I'll just let Ari do it when he pulls up. But yeah, that was my only concern.
Yeah, I just don't think it's necessary. Pretty clearly, it's not, in my mind, necessary. It's more a political statement that, yes, we are keeping the taxpayers in mind. That's the way I would see it, so I don't object to it either, but.
Okay. So we just leave it the way it is, as far as I can see, and if they want to take and put a statement in there, either or, they can do it at the board level. So,
Hi.
aye, 5-0. Then the board. Thank you. We go to accommodations and, the claims, and, Betsy, would you take over on the resolutions?
I would like to move the resolution for accommodation for Vicky Edgel and Lara Stark.
Thank you, Dave. Steve.
Aye.
Aye, that's a 5-0 on that. Okay, Don, you want to take the resolutions on the claims?
I move for resolution to do disallow claim for land bridge.
Second.
And the claim for Colorado,
Do we vote on that one first? Or?
well, yeah.
Aye. Aye.
5-0 on that.
I move to disallow claim for Dan and Paula Rabideau.
Second. Aye.
5-0 on that. Next meeting date, gonna be April 4th. And we don't have a room yet decided. You know where we're gonna park ourselves. This is gonna be for the election down here, so. Where do you wanna put us? Got a small agenda, we'll go into 119. If we got a large agenda, we go up to the 4th floor. All right, you'll know by the size of our agenda which one we're going to. All right, so. April 4th. Dave, move to drill. Second. I skip the second.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.